You'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. You know, you want to be a champion and have a monster mindset, and then learn how to control it rather than be, you know, generally meek and weak and have to face tough times. Morning, guys. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. On this particular video, I don't really want to talk about Antonio Conte that much anymore because he's gone, right? He's in the past. We've got to move forward and think about the new manager, think about the new philosophy and the vision and the transfers that can help us, you know, go into next season with a fighting chance. I just did a video, you'll see it before this one, about Mason Mount and the fact that Tottenham are interested, according to The Athletic, paying £70 million for his services. And look, to me, I've got no problem with him as a player. I'd like to know if anyone can tell me a bit more about his general desire and heart. Allegedly, I think he's one of those, you know, amazing trainers, right? That's what I remember hearing, that he is a manager's dream and that he trains so hard every day and that his will to win and desire and passion is second to none. And I think that that is something that's really important that we, you know, prioritise. When I mentioned about Julian Nagelsmann and his managerial philosophy, allegedly, according to him, according to a quote that he said back when he was at Hoffenheim, you know, he wants to prioritise 30% of his time is dedicated to psychological aspects of the game, you know, relationships with the players, yada, yada, yada. That's really important. But I think that stuff also needs to be adopted into our transfer policies. And the reason why I say that is because, well, you can look at people like Ndombele that have been just giant failures, the biggest flop I would say that Tottenham's ever signed. Not because he doesn't have the talent, but because he doesn't have the heart and the willpower and the personality to seize the moment and to recognise the incredible fragility that exists within someone's career. It could be over in an injury in a second. And even if you stay injury-free, it's still over very quickly. What is it, a 12, 15-year career? You know, it's not just about money. You should take advantage of it because you only have one life, etc. But, you know, it's not just that guy that stands out as a mistake from mentality. Now, I'm not saying that these two are. I don't think they are at all. But yesterday the news came out from, and I forget the guy, the journalist who put it up there, I'll put it on the screen now, that both RICHARLISON and Antonio Conte had decided that they would give an ultimatum to the team or to the club if Antonio Conte wasn't removed. That they had so much disdain or distaste for him as a person or for his managerial techniques, his coaching techniques, that it was him or them. And I think that that is an issue. And I don't know, like, it doesn't matter whether or not Conte was, you know, a bad guy or an idiot or an, you know, someone that was dislikable. It doesn't matter whether I wanted Conte out. I'm not going to use that as a see I told you so mechanism that the players had down tools and that he had to go. He did have to go, not just because the players have down tools, but because also of what he said. And for me, I think that, you know, all the other reasons I've mentioned why I don't think he was a good fit for Tottenham. But if you're going to have two players, and if it's just those two, that's bad enough. But, you know, I'd imagine that there's probably more that just haven't raised their voices about it, that were prepared to give an ultimatum to the club. What does that tell you about them, their selfishness, their priorities, and also what does it tell you about player power? Because ultimately, we don't know, but it might not have been the fact that Conte said what he said that got him kicked out the door by mutual consent. It might have been the fact that Daniel Levy was given the ultimatum by those players, or someone at Tottenham was. We don't know, do we? We haven't really heard any of the details. All we know is the timeline of events that we saw, and then the outcome. And that, to me, it's startling to think that there was at least two players who would do that, if it's true. Again, no it's just journalist rumours and stuff. But, and look, Romero, think back to before the World Cup, right? He was injured for the 3 or 4 games before the World Cup, and then was magically fine again just for the World Cup. A lot of people at the time were suspicious about that. A lot of other people said, no, that's nonsense. He's a champion, he's a leader. And, does this information lean anymore? Not that I want to go back to that particular point anyway, but does this new information, if true, suggest that he has the propensity to kind of go, oh, screw Tottenham, I'm thinking about Christian? And what about Richarlison? Why was he really unhappy? Why was he so unhappy? Was it because he was being played out of position? Was it because he expected Harry Kane to just be dropped more and to him have his number 9 favourite position? Was it because he didn't play well? Was it because of injuries? He's an emotional, volatile guy. He cried his eyes out when he walked off the pitch. And everyone, this is in the Nottingham Forest game, the Southampton game, and everyone presumed that you wouldn't make that emotional reaction unless you were, in your mind, you knew that your injury was going to keep you out for the rest of the season and, the consequences there. But turns out he'll be back, if not on the bench for the Everton game, and maybe even be fit to start for the game after. So I don't know what to make of it. There's nothing wrong with being emotional, but I feel like, what was it Jordan Peterson once said? He quoted an old proverb. You'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. You want to be a champion and have a monster mindset, and then learn how to control it rather than be, generally meek and weak and have to face tough times. And I'm not entirely sure which one of those two, the gardener or the warrior, this new information puts Richarlison and Romero and any other of the players that may have acted and been a part of that kind of, locker room talk. And there would have been locker room talk. Is there any connection because it's South American? Would Lucas have been involved in a clique there? I don't know. Stop, I'm talking. Shh. I'm not entirely sure, but I just thought I'd put it out there. And really, I'm not using this to make any kind of defining statement, but I'd love to get your thoughts on how you perceive this news to be, that essentially those two, and if not more, were willing to forget about Tottenham if Tottenham were to stand by a manager that they didn't like. I don't know how I feel about it. Does it tell me that Conte was that bad, or does it tell me that these players don't like tough conditions and aren't really the warriors and the mental monsters that I thought they were? If anyone was to have asked me, who do you reckon's the biggest, who's got the biggest heart and the biggest mindset of any of the Tottenham players, I would have said Romero was probably one of the top 3 or 4, just because of the way that he can play on the pitch. But I don't know anymore. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm not thinking through it enough. Maybe I'm missing things. Let me know your thoughts, guys, because it's interesting. Like, share, and subscribe. And as always, bye-bye.